I think that XRP is actually in one of the best positions ever right now as we speak. You're gonna hear those Bitcoin maximalists and people who don't own any XRP state. No, it's actually gonna come crashing down. And they're backing it up with these fake facts by like saying, oh, look at how far down XRP is already. Oh, it just keeps on dumping, it will never gain. But let me tell you guys one thing. Every single time the people said XRP would die out, or that the lawsuit was certainly going to be won by the SEC, all that type of stuff, they get proven wrong. And right now, I believe it's just a matter of time. But before I dive into exactly what I want to say, make sure you press that like button right now, guys. And I'm hyped up because I know what I hold, but I think I have a pretty cool story to share. I mean, we've been talking for a little while about how the SEC has no authority and how Brett Garlinghouse just keeps grilling these guys. But one thing we're really not talking about that much is the gateways that have now opened up. I mean, take a look. The Uphold CEO just as well said XRP is poised for a boom as major institutional interest will hop on in. And again, like we said it before, the SEC is trying to stop it, but they actually don't even have authority over this space, so how can they? I mean, even from within, massive expansion can easily be spotted. Mason just shared, Ripple has doubled their headcount in Singapore and has big plans to expand even more. This is extremely bullish. Quote, in jurisdictions like Singapore, Japan, and Hong Kong, regulators are willing to sit down and have a conversation with you. You understand exactly what's regulated and what's not regulated, says Rahul Advani, Ripple's policy director in the Asia-Pacific region. The US doesn't have that clarity, but it's changing. We all know Ripple right now is setting in stone these crypto regulations, and I guess a lot of these regulators that are going towards Congress right now have the Ripple lawsuit in their back pocket to get some new rules made. And like Scartus here says, barely anyone is ready for what happens next. Guys, over the last couple of hours, I've been reading so many of these fake posts, and actually the one I wanted to refer to you guys now has been deleted. I commented, hey bro, this source is actually fake, and luckily I guess he did take it down. I had a screenshot though. What it said was, this is what he wrote, Ripple partner American Express transaction volume reaches an all-time high. But the whole point of this whole situation was that many people right now from inside the XRP community are sabotaging things with sharing all these fake articles, all this fake news, but it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, guys, even if all these articles are having it wrong, we know that there's a significant amount of real utility building up in the background, and that specifically has opened up quite recently because of the regulatory wave. Again, whenever I read about an article nowadays, I have to triple, quintuple check on whether or not it's right, and whenever a top bank or analyst says something, it doesn't really mean too much to me. In this case here, a person did really tweet it out, however, credentials are kind of vague. I work in treasury management for a global bank and a realtor. However, Global Bank is not that specific. Now, Jeremy Hogan had some nice words against her though, and well, it's got 600,000 views, almost 589 actually. And so I thought it's worth looking into it because, well, let's see if I share the same opinion. Which again is that XRP right now is at a massive opportunity because of the utility that's being built, but the value not showing it yet. Shannon said, let's talk XRP. A few of you have asked about price prediction, time frames, etc. And while no one can predict the price, I will say, and I think we all know this, the price of XRP cannot be cheap. And I gotta give it to her. I agree with David Swartz, and I posted this a couple of days ago too, that indeed it's not logical for the XRP price to stay cheap forever. And like Alex here says, XRP has never been in such a strong position before like this. You know, the situation that we're in is so special. Again, you're seeing some partnerships over on Twitter. You're seeing some partnerships over on the web. A lot of them are fake. A lot of these guys are baiters. But we know it's being worked on in the background. Even if right now you're not seeing a crazy amount of new things, maybe people are rehashing stuff. It is critical to understand that even rehashing is quite important right now because many throughout the last 3 years have forgotten just how huge of a powerhouse Ripple actually was and how big the XRP ledger is and can get now that they've got this status. I think the price for the most part is reflecting the manipulation, so it's just being suppressed. But in actuality, if you also base in the fact that it missed out on the big bull run, oh my days. XRP is undervalued. But let's go. Actually, before we move on, guys, make sure you check out Bybit. A link is down below. This is the crypto exchange you use the most, and right now you can get $1,125 for absolutely free. One trade, of course, for absolutely free. To trade XRP with 1,011. I cannot talk anymore. $1,125. Or over on BitGet, you can claim a couple of different prizes by just spinning the wheel. It's as simple as that. And by doing any of these tasks, you get different spin points to spin more and more and more. You can win $1 or $100 or a MacBook Air or $2,000 or a summer kit or 100 BGB or just $10. But check it out. A link for that is down below as well. What's more, retail will be priced out of XRP at some point. That's an interesting one. I see a lot of nonsense online regarding the price is going to jump and then crash because everyone is going to sell. While that may be your theory, here's mine. Retail only makes up about 1% of the XRP space. By the time the Fed, banks, businesses, etc. start putting their money into it, that 1% of retail is going to look like a minnow in an ocean. That 1% will not fluctuate the price at all. A large quantity of XRP facilitates a large quantity of banks, whilst high price allows for higher transactions with less XRP. There's only so much XRP, and that is my opinion. Times frames. Again, something that cannot be predicted. However, with Fed now going live a couple days ago, and at that point, 2 days from the point she tweeted it, I would assume that they cannot be the only one going live. And that's actually another critical point here. People often say, yeah, but again, nobody's using Ripple, nobody's using the XP Ledger just because it's not that put up in your face. But it's working in the background though, and understand, Fed now is something that's so public and so beknownst to everybody. That doesn't mean all technology or all financial companies are doing it this way. Many of them like to keep their trademarks, not specifically that, but their ways of the trade as secret as possible until they cannot hide it any longer. But even then, sometimes they go through various different loopholes because they want to make sure they're the first to do it or the most efficient to do it. Whatever the Fed does, banks must follow because that is how they communicate back and forth. Whatever banks choose to do their business, customers must follow because that is how communicate with the banks. That is why I deal with in treasury management, money movement, and the connections to that money movement. Allow me to explain further on that. I previously worked in Wachovia in the cash vault. If you're really behind the times, Wachovia was bought out by Wells Fargo in, I believe, 2009. My camera died. Like we were trying to say, Wells Fargo, I believe in 2009. In the cash vault, they use a system called Glory. I eventually left several years later and then worked at Loomis as the balance and auditor in cash operations. They also used Glory. Fast forward 15 years later, I went back to the initial cash vault to find that they were still using the same Glory system. This system was also how Fed shipments of currency could be placed. What I'm getting at is, I would be very surprised if the Federal Reserve were the only one going live this Thursday. Throughout my banking career, I have noticed that whatever the Fed does, the banks will follow. That's basically the reason why banks close on holidays, because the Fed is closed. Banks are for profit. Why would any company stop operations because of a holiday if they are for profit? Think about it. Now, could I be totally wrong on this? Possibly. And that's going to suck if I am. However, I have seen a lot throughout my 15-year plus career in banking, and we are finally entering a new era. XRP, XRP Community, XRP Army, and Ripple. And a lot of the XRP community had to say that indeed the retail is indeed kind of a small portion of everything and things. And this is actually what people often say when they talk about XRP and the price, that whatever we decide, whatever we discuss on this Twitter stuff, it don't matter. It's all about the bigger picture here. And so even if you're seeing people say, oh, this, that, in a negative, bad way, just know that these institutions don't care about this Twitter influencer. They don't care about me. They don't care about a guy saying, no, Ripple actually lost. They look at the facts. They look at whatever the judge stated. And yes, the SEC might annoy things a little bit, but honestly, the big investors, they don't care about all these little words. They care about actual action. They care about the actual numbers. At the end of the day, some people are also questioning, indeed, was it all manipulation for XRP to be deemed a security right now? Was it all an inside plan in a good way? Was it all an inside plan in a bad way to try to suppress the technology for a little bit? And the good way being that they basically needed to get the XRP clarity, but it just took time. I mean, all these different perspectives make some sense because this is all like, honestly, I've been covering crypto news for so many years, right? And I'd say the whole XRP SEC situation, and maybe the SEC as a whole, is by far the strangest thing I have seen throughout all my years. And especially if you start considering the fact that it's so strange how we can all clearly see the conflict of interest, and we can clearly see the SEC's maybe this, maybe that type of approach, yet nobody seems to bat an eye. I mean, right now Congress is, but we're years into it, and Ripple's already kind of won, right? Where was all this pressure the moment that this lawsuit was still ongoing? And why right now? Is it because the SEC just lost for the first time? Are they now only getting the courage? Is it all that political that none of these guys dare to touch the SEC or their stands until it shows a little bit of weakness? I mean, I honestly understand they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot, but the whole fire Gary Gensler movement that even like gallumed, I'm not sure what the English word for it is, like that you hear the echoes, I guess, echoed in all these different committees and all these different circles. Fire Gary Gensler this, fire Gary Gensler that. How come it never really got anywhere? Is it because firing Gary Gensler would mean nothing? Or is it because everybody's scared? I mean, we keep on seeing Brett Garlinghouse State, for example. The SEC doesn't have the authority over this. What are they doing? And so many people agree, but yet they keep on smashing. I mean, honestly, it's crazy that Gary Gensler can go on the air to say the judge, screw her, she's wrong, and that they will go after this even harder, basically. How can they say that when they don't even have the proper authority for all this? And so many agree, and then we're it's just such a strange situation. But guys, at the end of the day, it just makes me more and more excited about what I hold, knowing that it's such a controversial piece, but we're on the right side of history. And if you guys want to see more crypto videos every single day, make sure you put that notification bell on, because what in case something crazy happens? You want to be notified. Like I always say, that's about it.